Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Y'all, let's do some fun crafting. Stay tuned. So thank you guys so much. Everyone who's gone out to Instagram and left comments or uploaded pictures, thank you so much for participating and supporting everyone who has been uploading their photos to Instagram under Posh Paper Lady Inspired. There are some amazing projects out there, and there are some amazing crafters in this online family. And for those of you who haven't been out to Instagram, go take a peek. Go to Instagram and then search Posh Paper Lady Inspired, and you're going to be blown away. So in a very recent video, I shared with you guys just a quick peek at a holder I made to hold 3 of these notebooks. I'll link the video showing how to make the actual notebooks, and we did that in a project, and we made 2 of them. Then I went back and added a 3rd, and I decided I would create this awesome holder using one of the chopping mats to hold all 3 books. So what I will do is I will make sure that I link the actual tutorial on how to make these books. But in this video today, we are going to focus on making this holder. We're not going to make any books. We're simply going to make the holder. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'll be working with the Dollar Tree chopping mat again that you guys saw me use in that previous video to make those books. And I have reduced the size of this to 12 1/4 by 9 1/2. So I am going to bring in my scoreboard because I need to make a couple of scores. And we're going to make those scores on the 12 1/4 inch side. And we are going to make a score at 5 1/4, all the way down, and make sure that you press very hard because you've got to go through the thickness of this particular chopping mat, and it is rather thick, so I'm going to go over it just a few times to make sure that I have a good impression. And you can see that impression there. And I'm making my impression on the dull side of this because I want to have that matte side as the outside, and then the other side is very shiny. That is the side on which I will lay down my papers. So on the opposite 12 1/4 inch side, I am going to score this again at 5 1/4. So we score at 5 1/4 on one side of the 12 1/4 inch paper, and then we flip it and we score on the opposite 12 1/4 inch side at 5 1/4 because we want to make sure we have even book covers on both sides. So then we're going to rotate it to the 9 1/2 inch side, and we're going to score this at 1 3/4 all the way down. And I'll go over it several times because, again, thick. All right. I am going to need my big old spatula for this because I need to burnish all of those score marks. And when you fold it, you're going to get that milky white look. That's going to be okay because that actually dulls itself out as you go through the project. So I am just going to take my big old spatula and just really go over that spine. Then I'm going to come to the other side, do the same thing. Now you may have a different way that you want to do this. By all means, use your way. Mine is just a guide, but if you have a different way or a better way that you want to do it, by all means, give it a try. So I am going to now fold where I made that 1 3/4 inch score. So I am folding that all the way across. And then I'll burnish that as well. Now what I'm going to do, and you might want to do something different, but I am going to remove this centerpiece altogether because it was giving me some unnecessary bulk when I was working on my initial project. So I am going to remove this just by trimming it out with my finger blade. And then I will just take it out completely. And you might have to go over it a couple of times because this really is thick. All right, guys, so now that we have this piece cut out, we're going to go ahead and place down our liner pieces on the inside. And what I have done is I have taken my pieces of paper and run them through my Xyron Creatopia. You can use the Xyron CreateStation for this because it will allow you to run paper up to 9 inches wide through it. So if you don't have a Xyron, I would recommend that you don't use any type of tape strips to put this down. There are full adhesive sheets on the market. You might want to look at those, but another alternative that works just as well is to use spray adhesive. And if you use spray adhesive, make sure that you spray it outdoors for health reasons and because those particles of stickiness might actually do damage to the inside of your home as well. So here's what I have, and I have laid mine down. So I am just going to peel these and place them down. And I'll be using 2 of these that measure 5 3/8 by 8. And what I'm going to do, I believe that I have cut them a little bit long, but that's okay because that's what I want. I never want to cut short. I always cut a little long just to make sure that I'm not going to have any problems with running out of paper on my project. So I am going to take this, and when I place it down, I want to place it down so that it falls inside of those score marks. And you can see that it is actually a little larger than it needs to be, and that's okay because our fix is very easy. We just come back in and we trim away that excess. So we have one side done. We are going to go ahead and take the second piece that measures 5 3/8 by 8. And I am going to place that down, and I'll turn it like this because it'll be just a little bit easier for me. Again, when I place it, I want to make sure that I'm not placing it on my score mark. So I've got that stuck down. I'll use my big old spatula to get a good stick. And now I'll trim away my excess. And don't you love this paper? It is authentique, and it is from the Gracious collection. It is absolutely some of my favorite autumn paper. My sister brought it, and I have been trying to find some really wonderful autumn paper, and she nailed it with these beautiful sheets here. So now that we have this down, we're going to go ahead and place the inside piece here because we do want to get full coverage. So I have an inside piece that I'll be using that measures 8 by 1 3/4. I'll flip it over, and I want to make sure that it's going to be inside of my score mark, and I can see that I need to trim off just a little bit of this, and I'm actually just going to free cut this, and you guys can use your ruler. I am going to trim away about 1/16 of an inch from this. So let me get this up. All right, guys, so now that I have this trimmed, I'll test it again. My fit looks good, and I'm going to place it down, making sure that my placement falls inside of those score marks. Then I'll turn it over, trim off my excess, and then I am going to just use my spatula to go over this. And now we have this awesome book jacket. But what we want to do now is we want to get that angle cut look that I have on this. And it's going to be very easy. We are not going to measure this, guys, because sometimes you really don't need to. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to turn it over because I'll get a better grip on this side. So I am just placing that in. I know that I want some top here, and I know I want some of that bottom there, but I also want an angle, and I'm just finding an angle that I like. So once I have that angle, I am simply going to come in and snip away that excess. Now, I think I want a deeper angle than what I cut. So I am just going to come back and trim. And that's the angle that I actually want to keep on this project. So now what I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to take the pieces that I cut off, flip it over so that I can get that mirrored image, and I'm going to place that one piece there. Then I'll take my second piece and I'm going to place it right there, and that is going to give me a pretty close trim on this. So what I'm going to do now, just slide it back just a little bit. I didn't slide it back a lot. I just nudged it back just a little, because then I'm going to make a mark with my pen like that. And then I'll take my ruler, because I moved it back. I can now place my ruler on the inside of this mark to get rid of my print. You can use a pencil if you want so that you can erase. And then I'm just going to trim it away. And by doing it this way, you can avoid having to try to match up the ruler marks, because now we have our booklet that's ready to go. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and put this together. One thing that I have noticed about these particular cutting mats is you need to be generous with your tape. And this time I am going to lay down some tape strips on the bottom. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm going to do. So I am going to cover the bottom in tape on this side. Then I'll show you how I'm going to do the other side, because we'll be covering that in tape as well. So this is one piece that I placed the tape along the bottom. So I have my tape placed here, and that tape is going to overlap here. But I am now going to take tape and place it on the top, because I have found that with this chopping mat, this is how I get my best stick. With my Reptile Glue, I couldn't get it to stick. With my E6000, I couldn't get it to stick. But my tape actually gave me a good stick, and I got the best stick when I put tape on both pieces and join those pieces together. So that's exactly what we are doing here. So I am going to put my final piece of tape down, lift this up, and then we are going to take these two pieces and just join them together. Try to get it as close as I can. Then I am going to use my ruler to go on the inside and just really force that stick. So now we have this sweet little jacket to hold our 3 books. And I am going to place a piece of chipboard in the bottom because I want to make sure that if we're going to have 3 books in here, that we have a nice sturdy base for them to rest on. So I have a piece of chipboard here that measures 5 3/8 by 1 3/4. So then I'm going to take this piece and add some glue to it. So then we'll take this piece and we're going to place it down right here at the bottom. And then I'll flip it over. And then I'm just going to trim out. But on this end here, I want to keep some of this so that I can do a wraparound and we can make this nice and neat. So you'll see what I mean in just a minute. So I have this piece. I'm going to take my glue, place glue on this, and roll that backwards so that the end that is showing at the front will have a nice finished edge. The back will not show, so we really don't need to do anything with that. Then I'm going to take my glue, place glue on this, place it down, trim away my excess, and now I can take this, and I have cut it just a little longer than I need for it to be. And now I'll come back and I am just going to trim away some of that excess because we always want to start out a little longer than we need and then trim away what we don't need, because if you cut short, you really don't have any options for correction. So I am going to just smooth that out. Take it, place it down again, and I'm going to trim away just a smidgen more and not a whole lot. And now I think I have a pretty good fit on this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my tape and place my tape on the bottom. Peel away that tape and then place some tape here because the inside, that bottom piece, is that chopping mat and I want to make sure that this sticks, so I am using my tape. Now that I have my tape on here, I am going to take this and place it on the inside. Just like that. Then I'm going to use my ruler just to go in, make sure I've got everything nice and stuck. And now you can see that we have a finished little bookshelf for our books. Now, I did not make any books for these, so I am going to take the books from the other one, place them in, and you can see that we've got a really good fit, top, bottom, and front. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this fold over piece right there. So I am going to take some of my scrap, guys, and we are going to use that to make our wraparound loop. So I'm just going to trim away some of that excess, and I'll tell you how long of a piece I'm working with. So it's 2.5 by 8.5. And what I'm going to do, move this out of the way, I am going to take this and just fold it into thirds. And I am going to use this side because I want that contrast. So now I'll take this piece and I'm going to fold it over just like this. Then I'll take my glue and I am just going to fold this over onto itself. Then I'm going to take this piece and just place it to see where I want to actually put it. So I am going to slide it up very close to where I start to make that angled turn. I'll bring it right below that, and that is where I'm going to place it. So to place this, I am just going to use tape, and I can see already where the fold lines are from where I did my test fit. So I am going to just lay down some tape. You can hot glue it because I have used hot glue on this and that holds pretty well. So before I do it again on the other side, I'm just going to take it and place it down, and I'll just press it so that I can get where I need to make sure my tape is. So now I can take my tape, I'll place it on this side. And we are almost done with this super easy little holder that is not only great for these books, but it's also great for other projects. These measurements work wonderfully for other projects. So I have lifted up my tape. I am going to take this and place down my first piece just like that. And then I'll take my second piece, make sure I've got my books in there nice and firm. And then I'm just going to do my wraparound. And look at that, y'all. Isn't that pretty? So really all we need to do now is decorate. So to decorate, guys, I am just going to use what I have. So I am going to first take this piece here, and I am going to use it as just a border piece right here. So I am going to take my glue, and I'll place glue on this, and then we'll put it down. So I am going to take this, place it down, just like that. And y'all know what? It really does not take much for us to make something simple, beautiful. We can do it very easily because we do it all the time. So now all I'm going to do is I am going to just take these two little circles that I have here, and I'm going to place one on this side and one on the other side. And that's how we're going to finish this one off, because I want to use up the pack that I opened. So I am going to use all of the little pieces that I can. And I'll take this piece and I am going to place it right there. And then on the other one, I actually place some pieces on the back, and I think I'll do the same thing on this one. So I am going to take these little pieces here and just place them down. And I'm going to use this to break up the lightness of that color. So I am going to take this piece, place it down, and I did find that when I used glue in this manner with just a little piece of paper and stuck some glue on it and placed it here, it worked. So I am just placing these down, and I'll have a moment to go back and straighten those up. So they might look crooked, but I will straighten them. So let me bring this to me. And so there we have it, guys. All we need to do now is to allow this to dry, and we will have a finished holder. I'm going to bring the other one back in, and you'll see how I added those to the back and then how I decorated the side. And you now have a wonderful bookshelf that will hold 3 of the 2021 planners that also had notepads in them. So simple, so easy, just another fun way that we can use those chopping mats from the Dollar Tree to get the look of lamination without having to worry about heating up a machine or pulling out laminating sheets. We've got everything we need right here. So guys, I hope that you have liked this super easy, super cute project. And if you have, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you join my online crafting family. You guys have an awesome day. Happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.